to the narrated video for virtual billiards. So I'm just going to start the program real quick. And as you can see, what you get is a picture. It's a live picture from the webcam. So the setup is a webcam set up overhead a pool table. And this pool table is a miniature pool tables, but it is representative of a real pool table. And the balls are also smaller than real balls, since the table is smaller, of course. But again, everything is representative of a real pool table. So the program requires you to have a webcam set up. Alternatively, you can use the file input version, which is what we will be submitting, since it's not really practical for you guys to also have this just set up. Anyways, so first things first, you can press S to take a snapshot. So I'm just gonna do that real quick, and there it is. So what happens when you do that is the program does circle detection, since everything we need to detect is circles. So that'll be the holes and the balls, pretty much. And then once we detect those circles, we will determine what's what. So what's a pocket, which one is a ball, and which one is the cue ball. So for pockets, we stuff them with tissue paper just to make them more visible, and also this way they all have a white color, so it's much easier to distinguish between actual pockets and wrongly detected pockets. As you can see, we have we're detecting something that we don't want here. I'll get back to that in a second. So the way we determine what's a pocket is by the radius. So as you can see, the pocket radii is much bigger than the ball radii. So how we check is we check if the radii is big enough, and then we check if the color, which in this case will be white because of the tissue, if it is indeed white. And once we do that, we should get 6 values, 6 like detected pockets. And then we will run our extrapolation, rectangle extrapolation. So for example, if we were missing like this middle pocket, but we had everything else, we can use the information from the rest of the detected pockets to figure out where that last pocket was. And this way, we have a very good way of determining all the pockets, even if some of them don't end up being detected. And also what this does is it forms a rectangle, which tells you that all the balls should be inside that rectangle. So this detected circle is actually excluded. As you can see on our left here, we have output of the information. So as you can see, the cue ball, that would be this one. It tells you the XY coordinates and the radius, along with the regular ball. So as you can see, it only detected 2 regular balls, which means this one was excluded, and then the 6 pocket details. So that's it for the detection part. The next is that's it for the Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how the game determines if a shot is possible. So to start off, let's look at this yellow ball. So ignore these are excluded, you don't have to worry about that. So let's look at the yellow ball. So what the game does is it'll check the cue ball, a ball, and all the pockets to see if that shot is even possible to begin with. So obviously this one is very possible. To hit this into this pocket, that's pretty much impossible. And when I say pretty much, I guess it is impossible. This one's obviously impossible, this one's impossible, this one is impossible. And when I say impossible, just like directly shoot it in, so we're not excluding like crazy bank shots and that stuff. And this one, maybe it's possible, but it looks like the angle is not possible. So anyways, how we do this is we check if the angle between so this angle here, so from here to here and here to the pocket, we check if that angle is less than 110 degrees. And if it is 110 degrees, then it's impractical to be able to shoot it in. So as you can see, for that yellow ball, the program will know that, okay, this is the only possible pocket it could go into. And that is the only possible shot. So next we will look at these 2 balls here. These 2 balls are clearly in the way of one another. So if I were to shoot the cue ball at either one of them, I would, of course, if I would aim for the green one will run into the red one after, and there will be a collision there. And if I try to shoot at the red one, I will hit the green one first, and the game excludes those collisions. So in this specific table setup, there's only one possible shot, and it is the one displayed on the screen. So next, I will go over a more complicated board with lots of available options and talk to you about how the game picks which shots to recommend. Okay, so now here is a new setup, a lot of balls added. I'm going to take the picture. And as you can see, the game will recommend you 3 shots. And those 3 shots will be what the game believes to be are the easiest 3 shots. So how does the game determine the difficulty? Well, it's a combination of distance and angle. So I will talk about angle first. I think angle is pretty basic. As you can see, the yellow shot, if it's at 180 degrees, that one's almost perfect, straight line. That is the easiest shot you can get. And if it's 90 degrees, then it is the most difficult shot you can get. So you can imagine, yeah, this one, this yellow line being like the easiest angle you can have. And then this shot to the yellow ball here, while the angle is not exactly 90, but you can imagine like this shot being very difficult because of the angle and like, yeah, how exact you need to be. And then next for the distance is actually composed of 2 parts. The distance between the ball and the pocket, and the cue ball and the ball. So if the ball is closer to the pocket, that's better, aka easier, than if the ball was closer to the cue ball. Because you can imagine if a ball is right beside a pocket, it's much easier to hit and get in compared to if the ball was really, really close to the cue ball, then it's actually quite difficult. So we put different weights on those 2 distances, and and then we add that together to form the difficulties along with the angle. And of course, with those 2 factors summed up, we will sort all the available shots by difficulty, and then the 3 easiest ones will be displayed on the screen. So we also have a learning element included in our program, and I would show you this with the live demo, but it's a little difficult to demonstrate that learning happening because it's incremental, and it would like take a lot of attempts before you see change. Because if you miss one shot at a long distance, the game's not gonna go, oh, this guy can't make shots at long distances, so we're just gonna stop recommending those. So as you can see here, this game state is what you would get if you were just the first shot you're taking, and you presented the game this. It'll say, okay, this shot's easier. As you can see, these are pretty much the polar opposites. One of them is at a short distance at a sharp angle, while the other one is at a long distance but at a very close angle. So let's say you just keep missing this shot, then the game will see that and it will incrementally adjust. So it'll see that, wow, like you cannot make sharp angle shots, so we're gonna start recommending shots with a lower angle, or sorry, with I guess in this case it'll be a higher angle because 180 is the highest one. So I'll recommend you shots with higher angle. So as you can see, the shots pretty much flipped. It'll say the long distance shot with the easier angle is better for you than the short shot with the hard angle, because you are not good at hitting sharp angles. And the same thing could be said with the opposite case, where if you keep missing shots from long distance, the game will say, okay, this person is not good at hitting shots at long distance, so we're going to stop giving them long distance shots and recommend those shorter shots, which might be harder because of the angle, but because you're not good at the long distance shots, it will recommend you those instead. So to wrap it all up, I'm just going to do a quick game, or just a couple shots for demonstration. So I'll start the game, and the game will ask you which path did you attempt. So if you don't tell the game anything, I'll just assume you take the green shot, the easiest shot every time. So I'm just gonna do that. So I will. Okay, let's say I made the green shot. So I hit the black ball in, and the white ball rolls over here somewhere. As you can see in the left camera that I moved it. Alright, time to do it again. Oh, okay, I pressed S a bit too many times, but anyways, here is another recommendation. So these are the 3 shots. Okay, so I am going to go for the green shot again. So boom, let's say this time I miss. Hits it like this somewhere. That. Okay, and next shot. Okay, so now here it is again, the 3 recommended shots. And as you can see, you just keep going every time. And of course, the learning element is constantly updating how it calculates the difficulties based on whether you made the shot or missed the shot. And the way it does that is just to check for the number of balls on the table. If it decreased, you made the shot. If it did not decrease, then you missed. That's how the game knows to increase or decrease the difficulty for certain shots. And yep, that's pretty much the program.